Wow. I was mute the whole time. Damn. Never mind. So let me just start from beginning. Hello, hello, hello everyone. How's it going? This is Harsh, your pixel art mentor and also the moderator of this stream. Don't worry, I'm not gonna be here for the whole time. We have our art mentor here. Let me bring him on the stage. Hello, Paras. What's
Yes,
up?
hello. I'm audible?
Yep, you are.
Yes, I'm audible.
Unfortunately, I was not audible.
Good, good evening, everybody. Yes, I can already see comments, people saying excited for this stream and all that. Okay, that's nice.
Yes,
Thank you. Please send me that energy. Coming after a long days of work, this is the kind of vibe that I like. And then people will be like, okay, let's do this shit. So, yeah, happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. The I guess we have quite a lot of people here, so let's keep this energy rolling. And the stay, I'll give the whole stage to you. All
Yeah.
right, I'll
Yeah.
be hopping off then.
All right. Uh, I don't know if people can see my screen. People can see my screen. You guys can see my screen. Is that what I can say? Yes on the comment section if you can, because I'd like to see. I'd like to hear the comments, and I mean not hear, read the comments rolling basically in this case. Right. Nice. Good. I'm not gonna waste time today. You guys know that I do that when sometimes when I'm in the mentorship class, but today I'm not wasting time. So here's the thing: this is a masterclass, right? Masterclass, and the way I wanted to run this one was I wanted people to have a full taste of what it's like to actually be a concept artist, like a full blown, you know, like in the studio vibe. What exactly you would be doing if you were working with a art director, you would be working with, all the game designers and everyone else if you're in a gaming studio, or maybe if you're in a movie studio, then what kind of stuff would you be doing there? So I'm kind of going to keep it a more on a masterclass concept art, um, route. So yeah, just sit back, have fun, enjoy whatever. Ask me questions. I think I'll keep the question thing open. Um, and I think you guys already have seen the theme that I had picked for this masterclass. That was basically pick an old game and revamp it. In how would you try to remake a game in 2025? Like you pick an old game from the 90s and revamp it and make it into 20. That was like kind of like the theme that I picked. The reason I picked this theme was because I wanted people to know that there are a lot of times you will be in projects where people will ask you, how can you make something that's old into your own new, idea? Um, it's it's part and parcel of concept. There are many other things there, but like this is one of the very fun projects that any concept artist, a young budding concept artist, can also take, just to, even if you want to like boost up your portfolio to showcase like, hey, look, this is the kind of stuff I make. So yeah, you guys can totally like, try this kind of projects, give yourself those projects, or like work with your other concept art buddies or something like that, and make a project with that. So I actually used to do this a lot, and it's been a while since I've done it, so I kind of had fun. It's like the whole thing was like, oh shit, I want to do this again. It's been a while, and that's the whole idea. So, anyways, so the game I picked is called Out of This World. This game came out somewhere in '96, maybe somewhere around in '94, between '94 to '96, or maybe a little earlier than that. This used to be a pixel art 2D game that was there on the Super Nintendo, and so what happened was, this was something that I had picked up a long time ago. Someone had shown me this game. I never actually got to play this game myself, and I was like, yeah, what if this game ever got a remake? How would it look like? How would I, as a concept artist, take this game and make a remake out of it? that was the whole idea. So like as you can see, there are some screenshots I've taken, which is basically my reference of the game itself, and I'm going to show you the other stuff that I've also planned here. So the first thing was like I wanted like very specific. Um, I'm just making one scene. I'm not making a lot of them because if you want to make a lot of them, you need a lot of time, right? In a short span over just one masterclass session, at best you can just work on one scene. Or if I don't finish it, I will make a part two out of this series. I'm going to trouble the staff over here at G2M and I'll let them know. So yeah, I think they'll be praying, oh, please just finish it. Anyways, so here's the thing. I picked this game. It's called Out of This World again. It's a pixel art game that came out. It's about a character who works in a scientific um, research facility on Earth, and he works in one of those, those. I forgot what those things are called. They're like those cyclotron tunnels where you're like bombarding molecules and you're like doing scientific research and all. So, due to some weather events, this person with that whole molecule shifting happening, he falls asleep on his desk, and there's an electrical short which causes the molecules to get supercharged, and he gets teleported to this alien planet. And if you see this first scene here, let me take this white chalk here. If you see this first scene here, this is where he lands. He lands in this pool of water, and he's coming out of it. And the moment he comes out of it, the first thing happens is like this dude is like caught by those aliens and he's put in prison, which is like basically this. And this prison scene is what I have in mind that I want to make. Right? I wanna try making this prison scene actually. I wanna like okay, what if you can see this? This is just like one cage here. There's this alien character here, right? And of course these put other fellow aliens also in prison or whatever, and they seem to be like these hanging prison cells. So yeah, and then this dude escapes. That's the whole story, is he basically escapes, and the whole game is about that. So but I wanted to make this scene, and I wanted to make it look like how would this look in a game if I was to remake this, and probably maybe make it a 3D game, instead of a 2D pixel art game. What if I made it into a 3D game, right? And that was the whole idea, and that's um, you would do that. Someone's asking, when creating concept art for a remake of an old game, how do you ensure the original vibe is preserved while incorporating your own unique style? Right, I'll get to that. So this was a reference of the game itself, which is basically the what I want from the game's information. Now, the additional reference that I picked up is all the reference that I like from real life, and I wanted to basically create this similar structure. It's like a mountainous planet, and it has like these symmetrical constructions of this alien planet. So what happens is I was like, okay, let me see on planet Earth, where do we have these kind of constructions and locations? So I quickly gathered a mood board reference. I said, like, these are the things that I would take reference from, and like, try to recreate using all this inspiration or all these references to build what I want to do as a remake. And then the reference, or you could say the mood or the color palette that I want. So if you look at this color palette, like these references, which are like other people's artwork as well, or paintings, you could say illustrations and everything else. If you look at all these colors, they are all in the same color shade as it is of the game itself. Like the game is also like very blue, purple tones, and the only thing that's in warm colors is this character himself, right? He's the only thing that is like, okay, red hair. He's got like the skin tone which is very warm, and his clothing is also somewhat similar in the warm tone. Some of the aliens do have the same features, but that's the whole thing. The whole point is they stand out, and the character's red hair is basically the main thing here. So that's like the color palette that I was like, okay, I know what colors to go with. right? So I started doing research on like what kind of moods can I create. So I said like, okay, let's create this kind of color palette, right? And then finally, okay, what kind of perspective shots do I want? Top down view, side view, front view. Like, I looked at existing, another set of existing drawings. These are like far less because I don't need a lot of perspective shots, right? I just need one or two at most. So like, I was just like, yeah, let's go with maybe the first one looks very nice. Maybe this second one here looks very nice. The third one, okay, yeah, not so much, but I kept it there. Just get a good idea. Okay, maybe I should go with that in case the first two don't work, kind of thing. So this is basically step one, guys. So when I'm like working in a studio, I do this. This is like the very first thing I do on research. I'll be like, let's find mood board, let's find references, let's try to match the old game with the new remake that you are trying to work with, like how you're going to, because at the end of the day, you as a concept artist have to not just visualize what this remake will be, but you also have to convince everyone in your team that this remake will be good, like at least visually. So it is your job to do that. And if you're not able to do that, then you will basically be told, hey, look, we didn't like it, we need another, right? So yeah, that rides on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this reference set away onto my other screen, and I will just work on this blank screen that I mean this blank page that I have created for myself, and actually, plan out what I'm going to do. So I'm like, I didn't draw anything. I wanted you people to have a look at it. This is probably a bad idea because it might take more time because of it, but like, I wanted you people to understand, like, what the process is and how it goes about. So the very first thing I do is I actually establish my thumbnails more than anything else. So those perspective references which I just showed, like, these ones, I'm basically going to use these shots for the idea of how I want my maybe how I want my own shot to look like, right? So it's very simple stuff. You'll be like looking at, okay, I need to create a perspective grid. Like, I'll create one which is, yeah, pretty good, not bad. Do it fast, kind of thing, right? Just do it the way you want to do it. Like, maybe I don't want it that strong. Maybe I want it a little more, um, right? I mean, you can use whatever tools you like. If you have an existing perspective grid, just go for that. I would say, it just saves time. But sometimes I like to customize my perspective grids or like customize my shots. So I make a quick perspective grid right off the bat. So yeah, there you go. Simple, not too complex, and then just let's see. This will be my center. Then I'll make my third point from somewhere from here. All right, that easy, man. It is that easy. So there you go. My grid is done. Right. Maybe I'll change the color of this so that it doesn't bother me too much. Right. Take a light color here. There you go. Right. And then I'll actually draw the idea for that environment, right? And that's where my real life, like my tongue twister, real life references come in, and at the same time my game references. So basically, and this is where all this comes in, right? I'm not worried about the mood board right now. This will come in the painting time. So for now, it's just these two, this one and this one. So I already know that. If I was to note it down for myself, I already know it's got this. Um, Also name your layers, boys. Um, Here we go. I already know it's got like these hanging prison cells or whatever you may call it. Yeah, prison cells, right? And then it's got like platforms, which are probably, you know, your walking area, whatever. So I'll just write it as walk. And then probably some instruments like buttons or levers or something. And then the other prison cells, so probably maybe doors and other prison cells. All right. So my notes is like, okay, I already have this, and this is like inside a mountain, right? So let's just put it that way, inside a mountain. So this gives me structure. It makes me understand that I need to do this. I need to define my thumbnail sketch, which I'm going to do with all these notes I've just made and the references that I have picked up, right? So let's get to it. That's all there is to it, right? So like let's start. Like, I'll just roughly do it. Right now I'm just trying to get shapes and forms. So I'm not going to worry about, oh, I want this perfect in one go. I'm more about like, oh, how can I create all the forms that I want to create, right? Like what kind of structures would I want there? Where would I want the entrance of the door? Where would I want the exit of the door? Right. So I'd start doing all that kind of thing. Then where would I want my, you know, the hanging prison cells? Would I want it like somewhere over here? Right. Right. If people are going to ask me how to do perspective, please attend my class. This is masterclass. so, so yeah, all this stuff. You'll be doing that. You'll be looking at like okay, maybe I'll do one more prison cell, and then draw a smaller one here somewhere. Right. The goal is to establish a shot, and that's basically what you'll be doing. So now that I'm like starting to draw the prison cells, I'm beginning to realize, okay, this place probably has one or two platforms which will be extending outwards, so that when the prison cell is being lowered, it comes to that platform, right? That is my first now objective that I've just realized that I'm going to do, right? And all this comes from the thought process that, okay, what if this was in a game? How would I actually tell the animator, like, hey, animator or whoever is doing the transition of these objects? Um, I would be basically like, okay, how do I tell them that this is what I want, kind of thing, right? So yeah, that's what I think about. Um, at the same time, I'm also thinking, okay, I want like this entrance area, right? And probably something like this. Right, and just darken this area. So yeah, quick sketches. Um, you don't have to be clean on these sketches. You can be super rough, and that's completely fine, because the objectives has to be like, I'm trying to create something, and it's as long as I understand what I'm trying to make, I think I should be good enough, right? And probably I'll create some kind of circular, or maybe splits. Actually, splits would make more sense. Um, I'll tell you what those are for in a minute, right? And yeah, maybe this thing is going downwards and it's like spiral, get it, get like all the information that you have your references for. So I'm looking at all that stuff, and I'm like, you know, trying to think, okay, what other things can be there? Maybe I can extend this, and instead of just creating, um, I could create a pillar, like a tower in the middle right there, which would make it more interesting. Like it would be trying to tell you a story. Like, okay, why is the tower there? What is the tower for? Maybe it's holding like the most dangerous prisoners in this part, and then it maybe have like this broken, uh, I don't know, footbridge or something. So that means it's not being used for a long time or something like that. And then probably like this panel area, which will be like, okay, this is where my controls will be to pull down these other floating prison cells, right? So maybe I could create the prison cell here, which will give a very dynamic up close shot, right? I'll probably be blurred, so I'm not worried about like, okay, what's going to be inside there. It's probably going to be in darkness and it's going to be blurred. And then, yeah, maybe I can take this downwards, like, it spirals down or something. I don't know. So maybe it divides further into like smaller sections. So I'm like doing this very rough, like seriously. Like I'm not worried whether this drawing is going to look good or not right now. I'm more worried about how much information I can provide to like whoever's going to see this once I start cleaning up. So right now all the information's for me, and I'm just trying to figure out what I can do, what I can do, what can I not do, and all that stuff. So maybe there's like a rock structure here, like it's got these weird patterns going on. So I can put it here, saying like, hey, look, this is where I want my rock structure. And this is going down, and I'm probably just going to leave it there. I could draw like steps, and then it goes lower, something like that. I don't know. Right, and it's quite steep, so it goes down there. So what happens is now I can like showcase that there are prison cells at the bottom as well. So like this thing is like a pit, it stretches in like a pit hole. So where am I getting that information from? It's basically from this game, this single image here, right? This one, right? What it shows is that there's a platform here. There's a platform here, right? And there are people here. I mean, these are also hanging prison cells, but there's a pit at the bottom. There's a pit at the bottom. So I'm like, okay, if there's a pit at the bottom, maybe it's a bottomless pit. We don't know how deep that thing goes. So what if I, designed that and actually started bringing in more information to it, like adding more information for the devs to understand, like, hey, look, I think I know what I can design down there, right? That's something that will be unique for like the new game designers who are going to see this thing. They'll be like, oh, this is pretty cool. I didn't know you could do all that stuff. Like, yeah. So they'll see all that and they'll like it, and maybe they will be like, yeah, we want this, right? So yeah, just this is where you should let your imagination go a little wild, and not worry about what you want to make. Just like try to stick true to the stuff that you are working on in terms of like this this project itself. So this is one of my pieces, and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll do this, right? I'll just create this kind of thing. Maybe I could create more prison cells kind of thing, and it can be here, maybe here, and then probably there's another thing here, so it'll be here and here, right? And what I can do is extend, because they're too close to each other. Give it a little spacing, right? And then bring this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then just make this like this. Alright, we got this. We got this really cool design going on here. Maybe I could add some more information around this. And then, so yeah, this sometimes this takes a lot of time. Sometimes you get it in one go. But the objective is that you still have to experiment and explore. So as long as you keep doing this, then you should be good. You should be able to come up with a lot of ideas and a lot of designs through this, right? Wish me I am able to finish this in today's stream, guys. If I don't, then well, round two, because it does take a lot of time to finish these kind of things. So yeah, there we go. We got this. We got this. We got like another platform here. Um, I could add. I could add. Honestly, I think I'm gonna remove this one. I don't like it. I want something like a light source coming from this point here, right? So what will happen is that there's gonna be this like light source coming from this point here, and it's just gonna hit like a split, and it's gonna light up this area where the character is gonna stand. So that's where my composition comes in, and I'll be like, oh shit, okay, that's where my composition is. That's where I'm gonna make my stuff, right? So I want to show that shot from the reference, from the game. I want to show that shot where these guys are in the prison cell and they've managed to, escape. So I want to show that there's an escape happening, and this person who's in the prison cell has escaped, and probably this guard is going to be knocked down or something, or like like fall on the floor or something, because it does happen in the game, in the actual game. So yeah, you can definitely you that is something I'm definitely going to do. And then there'll probably be like some wires hanging or something like that, like the that prison cell snapped, and then probably that some broken part of the prison cell like this, right? So that's where my storytelling in the concept comes in. I'm like, okay, I'm not just making an environment for the sake of making it. I'm actually making an environment that actually has like this, the scene that's unfolding of this video game footage, right? So maybe this character won't be exactly here, and this guard is here probably. Let's just put the guard here, right? Like, he's like, I don't know, he's like unconscious, I would say. I wouldn't call him dead. At least unconscious, right? And this is like a big guard, so like he gets hit hard, kind of thing. So he's like unconscious, and then there's a guy here, and the light source is there, so there's going to be a little bit of shadow on that point. But yeah, it's going to create this area as my focus of attention, right? And then I have this scene here of this massive door, which is the main door, which is going to be the next thing that they are going to be like. That's where the our hero of this piece is going to escape from. So that's how you can put it. Like, I'm like, hey, this is my story. He's broken out of prison and he's escaping and he's going to run in, right? So that kind of stuff. Then I'm probably like take one all the way down here and create like a very small conjunction of that. Maybe there's a prison here, there's a prison here, and this wire is coming like this. Now here comes another problem. I'm creating these wires, but the question is, where are these wires coming from, right? I'll have to like showcase something. So this is where I can actually take more information from my references. Like I was like, the references that I've created, they're all like, this part. It's all like natural rocks and people building inside the rocks and all that stuff. Like I want that. I genuinely want that kind of stuff. So I'll be like, okay, fine. You know what? Maybe these prison cells are not all hanging. Some of them are actually carved inside the rocks. Let's add that as the element, and that's the unique part of stuff that you are adding in the concept. It's not there in the original game. This is where you're slightly deviating from the original game just to make it look better. Maybe your art director might not like it, but that's a different story. At least you have to show them these options, saying like, hey, look, I made this additional option where um you know this I was like, okay, yeah, what if some of the prison cells are not on the on like they're not hanging prison cells. They're like on the rocks and all that stuff. So what if I did that? What if What if I made those kind of things? So here, there's one more here. Let's do this, right? And then I'm gonna draw one more of this. So there'll be another slit of light that'll be falling. So it's kind of like it makes you feel like, okay, this is genuinely not just inside a mountain, but this mountain is carved, and it feels like, okay, there's probably some sort of a what you call it. It's like there's natural rocks in here, and at the same time, some areas are carved and they're cut clean. So it feels like, okay, no, they're also like man-made kind of you know designs in this. So you're kind of mixing the two. That's basically what you'll do. So there you have it. You could say this is one thumbnail in a sense, and I'll basically take this further into detail, and I'll explain you how that goes. Right, there's one. Just have to. This one will come all the way up, connects, and then this one will go all the way up. Right. I'm super rough. I'm not even bothered like if I'm drawing straight lines or not. I'm just being very organic in this piece. Right. I can like shade this a bit and probably give it like this. There was this one rock that I was looking at in the reference which had like this kind of a texture. There you go. So it's got like these weird textures going on. So like this is a part where you can tell like, oh yeah, it's carved. It's got like this, swirls and all that kind of stuff. So feels like, okay, there's something going on here, but it's carved. Right? And then this rock keeps going downwards. Split is there. This would be flat maybe. This is the area which is carved very strongly and it's flat. And then there will be rocks here. I don't have to draw them in detail. They are like in the far lower part of the right. So this is one, and I'll probably do more on that. But what I'm gonna do is first I'll group this. So this is one. Look at the other reference piece real quick of the perspectives. It was two, which was this one, which is more like a cinematic shot here, right? And what it's doing is it's got this area as a centerpiece. Maybe I should use another color. This one will do. It's got this area as a centerpiece, right? And you got this character here who's standing. You barely see the character because the character is not important in this shot. And basically, it's got some up close objects here, and then it's showing like, hey, look, these objects are connecting to by a bridge. So what happens is your first, like when you are looking at this painting, this illustration as a viewer, your first is like you'll look at this spot here, this circle, right? You'll look at this spot here, then you'll move like this side, right? And then you'll move this side, and then you'll come back to this side. The reason that is happening is because these bridges, they're trying to point inwards. So what this artist has done is that they're trying to explain you, hey, look, you can roam around my painting as much as you want, but I will still try to get your eyes to rest at the center of this piece, or at least at this building of the piece, right? And that's the whole objective of this this shot. So I'm trying to recreate this shot in my image, right? So let's do that. Again, I'm gonna do the same thing again. I'm gonna make a perspective grid, right? Like I'll take this, right? So I'll make this, and then this is a much more easier one because I just have to worry about 2 points here. I don't have to worry about more than 2 points. So like this will be my shot here. It's a much more easier perspective. Actually, the lower side is not needed. I can bring this lower. I mean, I can add it. It's fine. That's my call. That's again the artist's call if the lower side is needed or not. But I can add it. I'll just make this perspective grid first. Okay. And yeah, same thing. I'll turn it into a different color. Make it light so that it's barely visible. And then I'll start drawing, right? And I'll take my reference again, the same reference which is full of mountains and all that stuff. I'll take the same thing again and I'll draw it, but I'll draw it in a different perspective. Now, what I'm going to do is there are two ways of doing this. I can draw the character here, right, up close, and maybe the guard is like fallen down here, and then there's like, the cliff side is here. And I can draw the remaining prison cells up here, right? Or I can draw the cliff side here, and the character is here, and the prison cells are on this side. I could do either one way. Now, in the first one, I have actually drawn the character away from the viewer. I'm actually drawing the prison cells and everything closer to me, even though it's a top-down view. So that's the reason why in this one, I would rather draw the character up close. I'll draw him here. Just like roughly create it. Say like, hey, look, this is where my character is. And this is where the guard will be, that security jailer or whatever they are. That's where they will be. That alien, they are alien, so yeah. So much larger, maybe he's just fallen down. And then this is the cliffside, right? And there will be probably some rope hanging and all, and you don't need to see further of that. And right, and then you got the prison cells. So these can come in straight lines, straight lines, straight lines, straight lines. Right, and I'll draw this. Just roughly draw this, and probably now the tower that I drew in the first one could be the focus point of the second. So before I draw the prison cells, I'll actually establish where the tower should be. So I'm using this this rule of thirds technique here, like the basic foundation in drawing. Rule of thirds is where you'll be like establishing, okay, you have this kind of a grid pattern, and then you don't really draw anything in here in the center. You like kind of focus on like creating creating 1/3 of the space of that canvas of yours, and then you're like kind of focusing around that 1/3 of the space. Like that's like the most dumbed version of explanation on that one. So yeah, I'll like draw the the tower over here, right? Maybe just maybe I can play around, so I'm allowed to, because I'm kind of directing this shot myself. I can maybe, instead of doing just one tower, maybe I can do two towers in this case, because the canvas lets me. So yeah, and then I got the mountain bridge over here, connecting upwards, and then the backside of the mountain, there'll be something over there. I do not know what. Maybe there'll be one of those light splits which I created. It'll come from here, right? And it's going to shine into the tower this way. So, it gives a lot of light on that section of the thing. And yeah, I did create this, that wooden footbridge, right? So what if I did that, but like, just create it somewhere over here. Like, hey, look, there's a wooden footbridge that goes up to the tower, and it's going to see like as if it's going upwards, right? Like maybe I just do that way. So like it's got this Like this is where you're playing around. You're just like, okay, I'm just gonna do whatever I want, and I'm just gonna have fun playing around with it, and let's see whether the art director likes it or not. So I do this a lot, even at work. I do my research correctly, and then I just play around to have fun. And normally the art directors will kind of get it. They'll be like, oh, this guy's having fun. He's making something cool. He's trying to do something interesting. Let me like let me like pitch in, or let me like see what he's doing, or give him some space to do the whole thing, and then I will scrutinize or like review and feedback whether I want it or not and all that stuff. So yeah, art directors have a tendency of doing that, not in a bad way, but like they're really cool that way. They'll just be like, okay, I'll give the artist a space to create something cool. So yeah, so yeah, you got this, and maybe you got here. I can use a lot of other information. Um, there's one thing I wanted to do, which I got a good idea on. Maybe the tower is small, right? I'm not doing the whole tower as the main piece. I will take something else over here because I can actually give more information. What if I show the extension of the tunnel on the other side? So I could do all that stuff, right? Okay. Everyone having fun so far? Because I'm just seeing the messages now. I was seeing references with if you can help me out. Okay. People are just chatting. Yeah, coming back to this one. So yeah, like just do this, like have fun. Like this is thumbnail sketching 101 of doing all sorts of nonsense you could do and you wish you could do in your life as an artist. All that stuff. This it comes here. It comes from it comes in this part of the stuff. So like yeah, there you go. Like, I'm making this. Right, I'll do this, and then probably there will be like this part. Actually, what I'll do is I'll make this go upwards, so it looks like okay, this part is cut in. So the part which is closer to the to our um, what do you say, to our hero, the character is escaping, is like it feels like it's been cut. The rock's been cut, so it feels man-made. But the part which is more away should be like more organic. So this creates like a dynamic tone in your piece, which is like kind of amazing to do. That's also pretty cool. So it's not a happy accident. It's more like you are kind of spending time, so like doing all the research, so you come up with good ideas the more you do your research and homework on these things. So yeah, there you go. There'll be this. There'll be this. And then I'll draw this part like this. It's like a mushroom, maybe. I don't know. Right. And then right, there'll be this. Got this, and then let's see what else can we do. Not a lot. I'll yeah, there's not a lot you can do in this scene. There's like a certain restriction you will face in this scene. Right. Let me see if I can take some more information from these rocks over here. Okay, I got this part here. And then I got. You know what? Instead of just a split, I got a better idea. I can make it a natural rock formation in this part. The only part that's a natural rock formation. So it can give a lot of light. This part will be cut. It can't be low, it has to be high because again it's a prison, so if someone tries to escape they have to scale up that location. So it's you have to keep that in mind. So it should also not be reachable for the player, right? The player shouldn't be able to climb up here and then jump out of the prison. Not allowed to do that, at least not in the game. So you'll be like thinking on all those kind of things as well. And yeah, I can actually extend this all the way backwards. Like this will be the wall. Maybe a little bit of man-made structure over here. I don't know what that will be at the moment. Maybe it's like a part of the prison uh, wall, side prison or something. and then maybe they're cut like this. Yeah, so I'm just going on at it, right? This is where I'm just like, okay, let me just enjoy it, have fun with it, and let's just go on at it, kind of thing. So yeah, maybe there's, I don't know, maybe I could do a second footbridge. No, actually, footbridge is a bad idea. Let's not do that. Yeah, maybe I could just do like two-way paths, and then just do this. This definitely has more details. But yeah, the shot is like, it's okay. Maybe it's making me realize that the tower is actually equally important. So push this up a bit, slightly upwards. So like, the player is kind of looking at the tower like that. So yeah, this is basically like coming up with thumbnails, man. Just going full swing at it and just having fun and just like, yeah, well, I can do these thumbnails for fun kind of thing. You don't worry about it at that point. You're just like, okay, I just want to do it for fun. Let me just reduce the sizes of them so that way, right? So here's the thing. I like the second one. I really do. The first one, however, feels more readable and it feels more closer to the game, at least for me, right? But of course, everyone has their own objectives, and they'll be like, "Oh no, we like the second one a little more," and that's fair. You know? So this is where you will have your art director come in, and will be like, "Oh, okay, if it feels like if the first one feels a little closer to the game, the art director might likely pick that." But if the second one feels better and the art director sees that there's potential, then they will be like, okay, you know what, we can go with the second one. It's fine, right? They will go with either one of them at that point. So that's basically how decisions are like somewhat made. Not entirely on guesses, but more like trying to understand which one is sticking more closer to the game and which one feels better in the game, for the game itself, right? So they kind of do that. They kind of like figure out, okay, I like this specific one more than the other. That's how they that's how they plan it, right? So yeah, I'm just slightly adding this, right? There you go, and we finish. Maybe it's got some wires coming from here or something. I don't know. Wires are always fun to add. So it's got all that, and then this I forgot completely. The prison cells, the hanging prison cells. How would it look with the hanging prison cells? That's what matters the most, right? Personally, I don't like it. I'll be honest. But I try experimenting anyways, try to figure out which one is better. That's the goal, right? So yeah, they hanging prison cells. So there's one thing here. The problem is the hanging prison cells don't really give that much importance in the second piece. While in the first piece, I'm actually creating one hanging prison cell right here, dead center, and it feels naturally part of the environment. So it gives a certain sense of like, oh, okay, that's a prison, right? And similarly, maybe I can add one more at this point, maybe a little bit further. Not too big, but I could add that. And then like there'll be like some hand coming out or something, like person trying to reach out, seeing that hero character has finally escaped, so the hands coming out like them trying to reach, hey, look at us, we're stuck in here as well, please free us, kind of thing. So all that stuff can, when you add all that stuff to the story, it makes it feel more natural. It feels like, oh, okay, this makes sense because that's what that's what happens in a prison, or at least that's what happens in a prison you've seen. on like TV or maybe like documentary or something like that. So all that stuff, just you know, they're all like all calling out to him, kind of thing. So yeah, okay, okay, one, two. So this is the thumbnail part, and this is the part where most of the artists are kind of be um, they're just going to be like um, they will just try to explore this as much as possible. Because we're short on time, I'm just doing two. But normally, if you're working full time, you probably get like half a day, full day just to do this. And like in half a day, full day, there's so much you can make. There's like so much you can make. So yeah. Um, are you gonna use 3D techniques example using software like Blender or Unreal for block out the scene? No, I'm not doing that. At least not for this because it's gonna take me forever to build that. I could do it, but it would be easy. It would be easier for me to explain you in just painting, honestly. Um, what else is there? Someone's asked anything else in the process. Is this TV Choi brush? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, my dude. It's this chalk brush. It's a chalk brush. It's a square brush which has a texture. Let me just see if I can find it. Here. It's a square brush which has a texture. I put some pen pressure. Like this is the texture. I've just put a noise texture. And I've added the dual brush as a chalk brush here. A little bit of transfer so that there's pen pressure and everything, and smoothening. Just to like control the whole thing. That's it. So that's the whole brush about. So like it gives you this kind of texture. But I don't know. I just happened to find this today, and I was like, oh, okay, this brush looks cool. It's fun. I either download a lot of brushes or I'm just like exploring and experimenting and making my own. Like for example, I have this one which is like a flat brush like this. This is something I made. I was just like, okay, yeah, let's make a flat brush because I want to color shit like that. So yeah, that was one. And then there's this brush which simulates um, ink pens or microns, or you could say like fountain pens. So it has this. It has that. If anyone like wants to do manga work for inking and all, that's basically a good brush I could use. Um, there's a pencil brush which I also have, which I primarily use the most. So yeah, these are something I've made. So like yeah, whatever I find, I either download or I just make them. Either one of the two. It's fun. Anyways, we are done with this. We are going to go with the actual process now. I'm gonna reduce the size of this. I don't really. There are two ways to go approach this. You could do 3D blockouts, which is completely fine. I don't have any problems. I think that's a cool way to do it. It's really helpful when it comes to creating what you call it, creating environments pieces. But if you're short in time and you're more capable of doing 2D art altogether, then I suggest you just do 2D art, man. You don't have to do 3D. Like, be confident in your skills of doing 2D. So what I'm gonna do is colorize slightly reds, whiten this. There you go. And then I'll start drawing one more version of it, right? This is also kind of rough, but it's going to be a little more cleaner than the first one because now I'm going to add details. That's the reason why I'm doing this second version of this, right? So what I do is I first draw the thumbnail, and then if I feel the thumbnail fits, I start working on the more detailed piece that way, right? So this is one of the other ways I do it. And then I'll just like make these lines. Maybe one more, but there you go. So it immediately gives me a lot more detail just by doing that, right? Maybe I'll take a different brush for this. For that. Here we go. I'll use this one. Right. And then, right, I'll just try to decide, okay, where my rocks and everything is going to be. So I'm like, I want some rocks over here, right? And this is, again, I'm looking at my reference. Like I'm looking at my reference and I'm deciding, okay, I want rocks here, so this is where my rocks are going to be. Like draw this part here, and then similarly go with this. Some people, like if they spend enough time, they can just do direct cleanups on the thumbnail itself, which is also fine. You can do that. But I sometimes like to draw over, so it's like a just more fun process to do. So yeah, there you go. Right, and it's like alien rocks, so they will be a little bit weird, but you can do it. You can do it. I have faith. Right. Is there anyone drawing along with me, or everyone's just watching the screen? Share those brushes. Yeah, I will share it. I will upload them. I don't know where to upload them, but I will upload them somewhere for you guys to have a look at this stuff. So I mean to use those brushes as well. I've got a lot of them. So yeah, there you go. The other reason I do this is I'll explain you that even when I've drawn in line art and say I'm not gonna get time to do a finished painting, I can still color within the line art and like with the line art, like still there, and it will still look good. That is one of the objectives I always keep in mind when I'm making artwork, uh, like which has like a lot of time constraint. So this is what I'm doing right now. So cleanups normally take a lot of time, and it is expected for you to take that time because you cannot do the cleanups in one go. So like yeah, and switch to the original brush which I was using just for a split second. Just go there. And then I'm like drawing these steps. Maybe this has a little bit of a gap. Right, and then it's kind of bending wibbly wobbly because you don't know how far down it goes. Right, so it's like crazy. And then we got this. And then maybe I could do a little bit of this kind of stuff. Let me see this part here. Look at those kind of structures. Right. Right. And then here we go with another something like this, right? So the good thing about digital art, which if I was to translate the same techniques um, in traditional, would be that I would be using a lot of markers. I would be using, if I'm using pencil, I would also be using the eraser to like create like these kind of texture from the eraser, and then it feels like, oh shit, okay, the places which I erased, it feels like, okay, there's some kind of like a texturing going on kind of thing. So I would do all that kind of stuff. I would start experimenting even on pencil and paper and trying to do that, right? So like so what happens is the goal is like you have to make a piece of concept, but what do you have in hand doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if you're doing the same concept on pencil paper. It doesn't matter if you're doing this concept on like digital, maybe you're using brushes, ink, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? That's the whole thing about drawing. You can take your skills, and you can like always use another medium and come up with like different styles. So yeah, I do this a lot, which is very, very fun and helpful. So this is like normally this is where I'm just shading and like trying to create all the line art and drawing like in good amount of detail. Right. I like to shade. I genuinely like to shade because it gives me more depth and perspective of understanding where the light is falling. Um, but there are people I know who like, okay, they'll be able to do it in line art altogether. And I'll be like, okay, that's pretty cool. Sadly, I'm not that good at that. But yeah, I like to shade. It's easier for me to do it that way. And then this is where the fun begins. Right. So if I like remove this, it's coming out. Right. Red screen. Okay, there you go. So there you got this, you got this, you got this. I want to keep this area around this door very clean because it's an important piece in my painting. So that area is gonna be like super clean. I'm not gonna do anything with it. But like yeah, the rest I can go crazy. And then you got this area. And then you got this area. Maybe there's a piece of rock here. Man, this brush is actually pretty good. This is the first time I'm using this brush, so like personally, I'm trying to experiment on things while I'm teaching people. So yeah, do forgive me on that one. But like, I just couldn't help myself that I wanted to use this brush and try to come out with something interesting. So because I just found this brush very unique when I was working earlier in the morning. So I was like, what? This can do this. Let me use it. Mine. So that was basically what happened. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll just use this brush for the masterclass as well. You know, the lesson there, folks, is that don't shy away from experimenting. You should be confident in doing all sorts of nonsense so that you can come out with the really cool, out of the box ideas. So here, this brush has one problem though. It doesn't work with very small scale or in like fine line detailing. Oh, that's the problem, eh? That's the problem. Okay. So yeah, there you go. So I'll just switch to another brush. It's fine. Right? It's completely fine. Right? And then you got this area. Probably there's going to be some ladder which cannot be seen. At best, I can just put like some kind of a rope here. Like, I don't know, it's going somewhere. And then probably add some level of detail over here. Right? This is where I'm like genuinely looking at details. I'm like, okay, I have all this information. How am I gonna add detail to this stuff? you know, this is where I'm genuinely looking at those details. So like I'm trying to do everything I can like to figure out what I want. And a lot of times you don't have a lot of you don't get a lot of time to do all this in one go. So you either are like quick and come out with ideas as fast as possible, or you are more like I'm going to do certain sketches and the rest of them are going to be like, maybe reference images or something like that, and you come out with those kind of ideas. So it's like it's one or the two, like, but like it's hard. So you have to like kind of manage your own time, and that itself is a skill, and it's really very important, and you will face that a lot in this line of work. And then this is going with this, right? Or it's going to be this. Okay, just do this, and then just sometimes you can just, if you cannot draw them, shade them. That is something I also learn and pick up from. If you cannot draw them, shade them, because sometimes the shading looks better than the drawing. Seriously, no jokes. All right. Look like that. Maybe a little bit of light here. All right. So what if I remove this? What happens? Okay, it looks good. Not bad, man. Let's go. Keep at it. Keep at it, boys. This is the boring part where you have to see me agonizingly draw an environment piece and try to get it done quickly as possible, and hopefully finish it today. Right, and I'm drawing this and drawing this. Right, this part was already done. I had this character. Just have to redraw him again, and then this part was also already done. I had this guy falling on the floor, which makes more sense, honestly. This is much more easier to draw than that second one with with the character super close, and then I have to draw the character, not just the character, but the guard that has fallen also in perspective, which is like really hard. So like, there you go. This is done, and I was gonna draw this kind of a cube kind of structure, right? So it'll be this, and then it'll be this, right? And then a little bit of this to give it like a little bit of the sci-fi effect. Sci-fi, man, sci-fi. Okay, there you go. Highlight this a bit because it is in darkness. In darkness it stays, right? Then we got this. We got the footbridge. I want to draw it like it's broken. It is broken. Then draw this. Okay, this brush really cannot work with thin lines, so I have to do either erase or draw with thin lines. I'm just randomly doing this. Not important. Okay. And then the tower. This has a little bit of detail. It needs to, because it's also part and parcel of like the important shot of this painting. So, that way. Holding shift key you can draw straight lines. Yes. It works vertical, not horizontal. No, it works both ways. Just saying that. Here you go. Look, I'll show you. I'm taking a class in the Masterclass, which is not part of the Masterclass, but anyways. So this is vertical, holding shift, and this is horizontal, holding shift. You can still draw straight lines using both. I don't think this thing can draw diagonal lines, holding shift. So at least as far as like I've tried, it doesn't work. So yeah, that is there. And you know what? I hope that answers your question, guys. And let's draw this part here. Like it's broken. We've got this little bit of so this probably could be a more ancient structure, while the characters, I mean the enemies or whoever these people are who have like put people in prison, they kind of cut the walls and they've made a more symmetrical design on things. So it could be that way, or I could make this entire like what do you call it? This entire tower also in that similar fashion. I mean, technically, I am doing that at least with the bottom of the tower. Like, you know, it's more symmetrical and it's more like hard surface, hard cuts, like straight line cuts kind of thing, rather than, you know, um, a little curvy and dome shaped. This is there. This is going to be this part here. I like doing this. This is like more like creating brushes kind of thing, you know. So it's fun. Like it's more brushwork in this case rather than trying to do um, sketching. Like the sketching is like with shadows or with shading. You know, that's more fun to do all the time. So yeah, you got that. 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 The more cleaner version of my crazy drawing. So much fun, right? Like I think I've spent like what? It started at 9. It's 10 now. I spent 1 hour and I already made like a idea sketch for my piece that I want to make, right? And then I'm like making all these lovely hands coming out of this. So it's like pretty cool. In 1 hour, if you can do so much, imagine if you have the whole day to do this. How many things you can create? That's the cool part about this. You know, being able to draw that way. That is the cool part, my dudes. Let's take this. Right. And then there'll be a hand coming here. This is where my perspective grids are still coming in handy because it allows me to understand that I will always need that perspective grid to create those shots for that. And then like I can do a little bit of shading here. And this is where I don't bother trying to draw things with a lot of detail. I just try to draw it with enough information on lights and shadows. And then this part will be dark. And then you got this prison cell here. And there's going to be this little... I'm still not drawing straight lines. Believe me, I'm not going to do that. Like, not until I'm doing the final painting, which I start right about now. So, yeah. I mean, it doesn't take long. If you're able to get this far this quickly, you need probably to do a full render painting, then probably you might need the rest of the day. But you're basically creating a single painting in a day at this point with this techniques. So it's like pretty cool that you can do so much in that one single day of your time, and then you feel like, oh, I'm so productive now, right? That's how it works. Similarly, this part will be a little bit darker. So I just roughly do this. And then I think I've made some lines over there, right? Oh, yeah, I did some cuts. Why not? Why not make a cut? Just to make it feel nice. Nice and smooth it is. And then we'll have rock edges over here as well. And we'll have the cut here. And the rock edges here as well. But, so, yeah. Now, the thing is, the reason I do it this way is because I can take more information from here during the painting phase, but now I can refer to this mood reference. And okay, perspective is already done. I can refer to this mood reference, and I can create how do you say, I can create more information on the painting time. So how I do this is I don't sketch anymore, like, because I know I'm going to paint, so I stop sketching. I'm like, okay, done, I'm done with the sketching part. I don't want to sketch anymore. I'm just going to take the colors that I want in my mood, in my in my reference sheet, and then I just start coloring straight up. I'm not even, like, I don't even bother. Like, I straight up start coloring. So I know the base color is blue because that's what I wanted. Like, everything is cool colors and it's like blue. And then, just take this, like, lighten up areas where you want it to lighten up. Just figure out where you want the light sources to be. And, you just start working it this way, man. See that? It's already creating so much more information, which the sketch phase didn't have. Right, and then maybe I could take a lighter color here. What this brush does is, because it's not 100%, like, it's not a 100% brush, it's a opacity brush. Um, it mixes my colors with whatever is behind in the layer. Like, if the layer is like this dark grayish color, then or like light gray color or white color or whatever, it's gonna mix it with that. And then I can just pick that and then work around that. And similarly, whatever's on top, it's going to try to mix with that. So yeah, there you go. Like, this is what the thing. Now, the main thing is I need to understand where my light sources are, right? That's my first priority. So I actually paint in the light, like, because this is already a dark color. So if you look at my color palette, here you go. This is like quite in the lower side of it's more on the, like, a darker side, desaturated darker side. So I'm picking something like this, which is like almost white, right? I'm saying, like, hey, look, this is what my light source is, and that's where my light sources are coming from. And then I decide where my light is going to fall. So, like, I want this light source, like, if I was to create this direction, I want this light source to be here, like, in this kind of part of the thing. And then similarly, it's going to create like this kind of, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then I'll give it a little bit of here. Actually, honestly, that doesn't happen. So yeah, there you go. There is a little bit of Tyndall effect from the light source, but, like, you don't have to draw that part. You just have to draw, like, where the light source is going to fall. And similarly, I'm like assuming that it's going to fall like that. Like, similarly, this, it's called, comes all the way up here, right? So yeah, that gives me a very clean idea of, okay, this is where my light source is going to be, right? Maybe there's going to be a little bit of scattering because it's coming from a thin slit, so there's going to be a little bit of scattering, but my core light component is all over here in this area where the characters are, because that's where I want it to be. And then maybe I can take this and like, just do this. Did I go on another layer? Yeah, I did. And do this. I mean, technically, I will be going on another layer anyways. Right, I'll take back that white, paint in a little more of it again. Something got mixed in with that white. There we go. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what it's doing. And this light source is a little too big, so so maybe I can increase the size of this, saying like, hey, look, this thing is like kind of lighting up this much of the thing space. And then similarly this, it's very unrealistic in this case, the light itself, but like if it works, it works. Like, say for example, if you look at movie sets, right, you have light shots which don't make sense where they're coming from, but because it looks cool, it looks cool. Those are the certain rules you're free to break, and like, it's completely all right. And maybe it might not translate exactly one to one in the game, and you'll be like, okay, it's fine, man, as long as you get the mood and the color tone of it, then I don't think I have a problem with it. you know so yeah, you could totally go in that direction and do that. There you go. This will be the light source. But and just makes the job so much more easier, man. For real. Coming back to um, maybe I can pick another color. I want a little bit of green in this, which will be my tones of it. Um, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, my dudes. Okay. So maybe the greens are coming from the rock texture itself, because I want the rocks to be a little more alive, rather than just like the pale purple colors that were there in the game. I want them to be a little more informative. So yeah, we could go in this direction. I guess we'll have to do a part two of this, huh? I don't think I'll be able to finish this in one part. Sadly, I'm sad that I won't be able to finish this in one part. I will have to do a part two because I'm running out of time. So that's the reason why I'm saying so. And I'm fine with doing a part two, because what I'm going to do in part two is I'm going to come up with a much more cleaner sketch, come up with the color palette that I want to make for you guys, and then actually show you a masterclass on how to do the final rendering. That would be much more fun to show. Like, I'm not just showing you like rough painting. I'll show you like the final render, right? And that'll be like, oh shit, okay, I'd like to see that kind of thing. Some stupid fun I do is I try to create like this kind of room lighting around the lights, because I'm like, yeah, I could do that. It just makes it look cooler. Right. So there you go. So yeah, there you go, man. That's one thing. A little more. If I was to, the thing is, there's too much blue in this, and I want to add in warm colors as well. So coming back to my mood color, this thing. If you look at all these paintings, they have nice contrast between warm and cool colors, right? Like, say for example, this one. Everything that's in the shadow here is like cool colors, and then there's hot sunlight coming on this, which is pretty cool, right? Like, I'm like, oh, dude, this looks very attractive. It looks, and this is natural. Then I mean, maybe there's a little bit of photo filter and editing, but like, if it's natural like this, then it looks really nice. It's the same thing goes here. Like, the whole environment is cool, and the lights are more yellow, right? It's contrasting colors. Similarly here, everything's purple and this thing's orange, and the orange kind of like looks really cool. This one is like pitch black. There's a lot of blue, which is like complementing, and then there's like hot white and yellow light coming down. This one is a more what do you say? Like, it's just got shading. It doesn't have a lot of light. It's just the statues are in like warm colors. And then similarly, the last one also, like, it really does not have a lot. It's just purple, 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 and blues everywhere. And then it's just got little reds and just white to stand out. That's it. So yeah, this is kind of like the general idea that I want to go with. And I was like, yeah, okay, why not? Why not? Let's do that. Why not? You know, make that kind of color palette. Like, I don't. This is where I kind of deviate a little bit from the original game itself, but I don't want to destroy the original game's content. Like, I don't want to go completely alien from the original game. I still want to have elements of the original game, within this. So, like, I'll paint over this. Like, maybe the hot white light is going to be a little more towards the yellow this time. Let's see how that feels, right? Technically, the white source is kind of white source, this part. The yellow will be more on the ground. Right. I'll be like, yeah, it looks fine. It doesn't look that great. It's not bad. It looks okay. But genuinely, like, you could create a lot of contrast doing this, right? And then maybe add more light. And then do this. This. So what's happening is now this part is actually standing out because it's got a opposite color than all the cool colors that are coming in. When I was pouring in the white, yes, it was standing out, but like by value, but it wasn't looking that good. It wasn't, how do you say it? Not looking that good. It was more like it felt too um, just like everything's cold. Now suddenly you just feel like, okay, there's a little bit of warmth in this. So that's what I'm trying to create. I was like, okay, what if I did that? And then, like, all my shadows are actually in the more colder region, so there'll be more in a colder tone. And then whatever lights are here, these are more like bounce lighting, you know, just creating this kind of stuff. Sorry, this way. Right. So now here comes this part. Right. Probably use another brush. So yeah, you can do all that kind of stuff. You can just keep making, and you have to just keep building on it. What else is there? Before I stop, what else is there? Let me just see. I can explain. No, I think I'll explain the rest in the next time, in the next class. I think I will call it here for the day. I hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. Um, and I hope you guys got like somewhat some level of information from this. Um, you guys have any questions you can actually ask, because nobody really.
All right, I'm back. Am I audible?
Yes, welcome back. Yes, welcome back.
Yes. Yeah, so what I can see from the recent questions,
Okay.
uh, these guys wants to know how you are making so straight diagonal lines and so curvy round lines. Is it some tool you are using
No, no, no. I'm
or
not using a tool. It's my hand.
experience? Nah.
It's not my tool. So here's the thing, dude. Whoever asked that question. Okay, so here's what it is. Let me bring it out here. You wanna learn how to make circles. Practice drawing circles. Right. Just keep doing this. Right. I'm pretty sure whoever's doing the concept art course has been told to do this, and they're probably like, they were probably told like, hey, just keep practicing this. Even mine are not perfect, but like, I've been practicing for a long time, so I'll somehow keep getting it. And then the other one is like, actually just draw straight lines. Just
Yeah,
keep
I
drawing straight
guess
lines.
that's like how Tushar says, practice makes a man perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now the
I
only
mean,
the
you can see
horizontal
it
and
live.
yeah, so only the horizontal and vertical lines is something I'm drawing. I'm using like the shift key, right? Like all your drawing softwares have this feature. When you hold shift key, you draw a line, it'll just go either straight down or it'll go straight left to right, right, or right to left, whatever. But then the rest, like diagonals here, they're like literally freehand. See that?
And
So
Krishna Singh is asking, can you also do a quick portfolio review in the Q&A part? So, Krishna, there's like we have already gone past 1.5 hours, right?
yeah,
And people might be feeling sleepy, or they like we are holding them in the weekend night, right?
yeah,
So, I mean, if you guys want, it's a really good idea. Like, we can do kind of a live stream session in which people can submit their portfolio, and we can do a review. Like, I
yeah,
think we have done something like that in the past. So, I guess we can do something like that.
yeah.
And again, this is Tushar's like question.
Which
Yes.
which tablet am I using? Okay, I'm using basically a Wacom into a CTH 680, which is this fellow. It's a silver one here, which you can see on the screen. This tablet is like 10 years old. Okay, so just saying, you don't you don't need the latest and the best.
I
like
guess you first need to improve your skills, then your equipment.
yes, you what I would suggest is like this actually opens up another part of that topic, right? Um,
Mm.
it is better if, when you guys are investing and you know you guys don't have a lot of money, because I personally did this when I was starting out. I would look for people who had hand-me-down tablets, and I would just ask them if they don't need it, can I take it from them? There was a time when sometimes they would just let me borrow it for free. They wouldn't like just give it away, saying like, "Oh no, you can keep it," but they would say like, "Oh yeah, you can borrow it for as long as you want," and they would just give it to me for free. And then like someone is giving away their second-hand tablet, I would just buy that off them, and then eventually, then I bought this silver one, which I just showed, and that's been my tablet since the time I started my started my art journey as well. Like my personal tablet. So yeah, I do need to change it though. It's time. Yeah. So yeah, that's one. I've been struggling quite a bit lately with jobs. Any advice would be helpful. How am I supposed to answer this one, man? Okay.
I guess. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So here's the thing. Job market is weird now in 2025, 2024, 2023 as well. Um, illustration work, concept work, if at least in the 2D side of things, is more like you have to kind of now learn to market yourself. That's basically what the world is looking at. Like when I say the world, I'm saying like globally, whether you have like, you know, clients from India or you have outside India, it doesn't matter. They do assess your attitude. So you're kind of, you don't have to be like, hey, hire me please, and like, would you have a vacancy and all. You don't have to do that anymore. But at the same time, you cannot be mean. You have to be kind of friendly, like, hey, look, I'm an artist. This is my work. I would like to take this opportunity to showcase you my work. You send them their portfolio, and then you say and you tell them, yeah, if you find anything interesting, feel free to reach me out, and you give them you leave them your contact, something that they can easily reach out to you with. So that's the more better approach when it comes to like actually reaching out to someone for a job. It works. I'm not joking. It really does work. And I'm not going to say it 100% works with every single one, but I will say it definitely it lets you at least peek through that door before the door opens, like, the opportunity opens up for you, kind of thing. So, yeah, I guess that's the best
Mm.
advice I could give you on this.
Sound advice. All right. So with this, we end our first concept art environment masterclass session. Thanks for coming, and thanks for
Yeah.
giving us your advice, your talent, your time in this late at night, right? All right. So with this, we'll see you guys in the next stream. All right, and bye bye. Good night.
Yes.
Have a good night, everyone, and
Have
a
a good night.
nice weekend.